Today we are going to learn about the femur. Femur is thigh bone. It is a type of long bone. So like every long bone, it has got upper end, shaft and lower end. So upper end, it has further subdivided into different parts. The number one is this spherical head. This is called the head of the femur. Then constricted neck. Then we have got here a greater trochanter, then a small projection which is called lesser trochanter. So between these two trochanters, anteriorly we have got intertrochanteric line, and posteriorly we have got crest between the two trochanters, which is called intertrochanteric crest. So then shaft is convex forward, and its posterior part is border is very sharp, and it is called linea aspera, and the lower end is expanded. So the side determination of this bone would be this head, it has to be directed medially forward and and upward, and this shaft which is convex forward, it has to be convex forward, or you can say that posterior border, it has to be posterior, which is in this case is linea aspera. Then two condyles which are called medial condyle and lateral condyle. So we are going to discuss all three parts, upper end, shaft and the lower end, one by one. So this is again, here we have got spherical ball, like ball and socket. It makes a ball and socket variety of joint with the hip bone acetabulum. So constricted part is neck. It has got upper border. Here we can see the upper border, then inferior border, then anterior surface here, and then we have got posterior surface of the neck. So upper border is convex and horizontal, and inferior border is straight and it is joining with the lesser trochanter. So again, this this neck has got anterior surface and posterior surface. So here comes a prominent ridge-like area which is present between the greater trochanter, and it runs downward and medially, and it passes in front of the lesser trochanter, and then below the lesser trochanter, and becomes continuous with the lateral medial lip of the linea aspera. And here this part which is continuing between the linea aspera and the intertrochanteric line, this is called spiral line. So again, posteriorly, this is called intertrochanteric crest. So intertrochanteric crest is basically present between the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. So how I used to remember that where is crest and where is line. So this is front of the or anterior aspect of the bone. So I relate this line to lion, the animal. So lion is a brave animal, so he faces everything from the front. So anteriorly we have got line, C for crest and C for coward. So it's like cowards who hide themselves behind. So on the posterior aspect we have got intertrochanteric crest. So again, here we have got a quadrate tubercle, a quadrate structure. Quadrate means having four sides, anterior border, and four sides, superior, posterior, inferior. So this is called greater trochanter. So greater trochanter is basically, it has got anterior border, it has got posterior border, it has got superior border, and it has got surfaces as well. This is the surface which is facing anteriorly is anterior surface, and this one is lateral surface, and here comes the posterior surface. So posterior surface, this posterior border is projected upward as a apex, and this is medial surface of the trochanter. So you can see that trochanter medial surface, it has got a hollow fossa which is called intertrochanteric trochanteric fossa. And then here comes the projection, which is backward and medially directed, and conical projection. This is called lesser trochanter. So again, now the shaft has got, this is lateral border of the shaft, this is medial border of the shaft, and this is posterior border of the shaft. So medial border and lateral border, these are vague, whereas posterior border is very sharp. And here this posterior border, it is in the form of a rough line which is called linea aspera. Linea aspera literally means rough line. So this again, lateral border, medial border are vague, posterior border is sharp, and it is called linea aspera. This linea aspera, it has got two lips. One is the lateral lip and other one is the medial lip. So in the middle part, these two lips, they are very close to each other, whereas in the upper part of the shaft they diverge from each other. They diverge to enclose an additional space, additional area. This is called posterior surface. So lateral lip of the linea aspera, it becomes thickened upward and it is termed as gluteal tuberosity, whereas this medial lip of the linea aspera, as it moves upward, and it is continuous with the spiral line which passes below the lesser trochanter and then in front of the lesser trochanter. So upper shaft, it has got medial border, lateral border, lateral lip of linea aspera, gluteal tuberosity, and spiral line. So these are four borders, and it has got anterior surface, lateral surface, posterior surface between these two divergent lines of the linea aspera, then medial border, medial surface. And inferiorly, likewise, this lateral lip, it is continuing as a lateral supracondylar line, and medial lip is continuing as a medial supracondylar line. So lateral lip continues downward as a lateral supracondylar line, and medial lip continues inferiorly as a medial supracondylar line. So here we can see again these two lips of the linea aspera, they diverge from each other to enclose an extra additional space, and this is called surface. This is called popliteal surface. So inferiorly, again, it has got anterior surface, lateral surface, and medial surface, and additional surface which is called popliteal surface. So again, the inferior end is expanded in the form of two condyles. One is called lateral condyle, other one is called medial condyle. So lateral condyle and medial condyle are continuous with each other anteriorly by a shallow patellar surface of the tibia, whereas posteriorly these two condyles, they are separated from each other by a deep trench like a structure which is called intercondylar fossa, and this intercondylar fossa is separate from the popliteal surface by means of a sharp line which is called intercondylar line. So again, popliteal surface, intercondylar area, and this is a sharp line, horizontal sharp line is intercondylar line. Whereas on the lateral side and the of the medial condyle and lateral surface of the this lateral condyle, we have got an area which is called medial epicondyle and lateral epicondyle. This medial epicondyle is the most prominent part of the lateral surface, prominent part of the lateral surface, and just above it we have got another landmark and very important structure which is called adductor tubercle. And in here on the posterior intertrochanteric crest, I forgot to mention one important landmark here as well. This is intertrochanteric line, intertrochanteric crest, and just above the middle of this line here we have got quadric tubercle. So spherical head, again neck, posterior surface, anterior surface, superior border, inferior border, then we have got greater trochanter, anterior border, superior border, posterior border, anterior surface, lateral surface, medial surface, intertrochanteric fossa, then intertrochanteric line. Again, it has got quadric tubercle, and this is intertrochanteric line which passes downward and in front and below this lesser trochanter, and continues as a spiral line. This spiral line then continues as a medial lip of the linea aspera. Then this lateral lip of the linea aspera, in its upper part it is thickened to form the gluteal tuberosity, and between these two divergent lines we have posterior surface, and inferiorly lateral lip of the linea aspera and medial lip of the linea aspera. They continues with the lateral and medial supracondylar lines respectively, and they diverge in their inferior part to border extra additional space which is called popliteal space. Then between the two condyles we have got intercondylar fossa, then intercondylar line which is separating this popliteal surface from the intercondylar fossa. Then we have got articular surface which is covered with the hyaline cartilage, and it is divided into two parts. This is the popliteal patellar surface of the articular surface, and here inferiorly, and this posteriorly is the tibial part of the articular surface. And here comes the adductor tubercle, which is an important landmark. This is the medial condyle, this is the lateral condyle, and the most prominent part of the medial condyle is called medial epicondyle, and here comes the lateral epicondyle. So this was the bit about the femur. Thank you.